Just a quick one. Why are God's people attacked in the time of the end? When you look at Daniel, when you look at the book of Ezekiel, there's a mention of them delivering a hailstone message. That hailstone message will be a hard-hitting message. This is what is likely to lead to God's people being attacked. It's quite interesting. How close are we now for this message? For them to deliver this message in all its unsavory tone. It won't be a message in which Gog and Magog will accept readily, because it will anger them greatly. But it has to be delivered. Now, this leads me to another point. How many religions in the time of the end will be delivering this hailstone message? Will they all be delivering this message? No. Why? Because the hailstone message, what they have to deliver, will be telling the political powers made up of Gog and Magog, it will be telling them that because they didn't support God's kingdom and because they persecuted those that were supporters of God's kingdom, that they are about to come to nothing. And that is why they're going to be attacked. And that makes perfect sense. How would you like, if you was a haughty, mighty leader of a nation, let's say you're either Putin or you're either any other dictator, and a group of people were turning around to you and saying that you don't have long to go and that your power is going to come to a spectacular end, and then tell them how you're going to come to that end, that you are going to be coming up against an angelic army, one which you can't see, one which will travel likely at the speed of light, which is, as you know, 185,000 miles per second. If you were to tell that to Putin or any other dictator at point blank range, you are likely to anger them greatly. But this is where the prophecy of Daniel and the prophecy of Ezekiel, this is where they get their fulfillment. I keep saying we live in interesting times, and we do. And that as every week goes by, something new occurs on the news that gives you further confidence that we are at the end. I know people have said the last of the last of the last of the last days, but there's still other things to come yet. All I know is that 3 years ago on my Facebook page, I went out on a limb and I said, I'm absolutely convinced that the world at large will be involved in a confrontation of epic world proportions at the same time as a world pestilence and at the same time as an economic collapse. I said all three will happen simultaneous, and then Jesus Christ and his myriads of angels will come into play, will come in and defeat the other three horsemen of the apocalypse, along with Gog and Magog and all the supporters of them. And it feels pretty close. That is why we may be in that 11th hour, but we still have that slight glimmer and chance that we are going to find out and give our support to those that are promoting this new government to come, the new messianic kingdom, God's messianic kingdom, the one that Jesus was constantly referring to when he came up against his enemies, the one in which he referred to when Satan was tempting him, always pointing to his Father's kingdom. And even back then, and with what was happening back then, he was still able to build up that support for that kingdom with like-minded Christian seeking individuals. And that will be happening today. There are still a lot of people that are supporters of God's kingdom. But those that don't support God's kingdom are not likely to welcome that Hailstone message that they will receive. Yes, the message change that the Jehovah's Witnesses will be giving out seems to be getting closer now, people. Much closer than it ever was. Now, I should imagine that the governing body will probably have to be discussing shortly what's contained in this Hailstone message. They can't just put their own interpretation on it. That's probably why, up to now, it's all been kept quiet. But at some stage, they will be told specifically what the rest of the Jehovah's Witnesses, all 8 million of them, have to give out. And when that happens, it will be too late. That will be it.